things might start to improve?
That is the big question. That can only begin to happen, I think it's safe to say, when we can all go about our business as usual. That means returning perhaps to the office, because remember, if we're not working in the office, there are so many bars, restaurants, cafes and shops that rely on that passing trade, the transport network that relies on us commuting into the office. All of those things need to change, and also business needs to be able to operate something like normal. We know that the mass rollout of the vaccine could help to a certain extent. It could make it a little
They love the normal word, don't they?
Things to get back
normal.
To but nonetheless, I've been talking to a lot of economists recently.
Repetitive word, isn't it? That normal.
Be a jobless recovery, and that's to say that normally when the economy starts to pick up speed, jobs are created once again. It helps it.
The new normal.
More employment as businesses open and expand and invest. But there is a real concern this time round that businesses may be looking at alternatives and thinking maybe now is the time to invest in robotics, in artificial intelligence, into automation. Because
God, talk about predictive programming.
Susceptible to things like the coronavirus, and so it might be worth them investing in that.
That's the whole point of all this and the lockdowns.
Future, they are not susceptible
global reset.
In the same way, and so. What we've seen in the past is that when the
robotics, digital,
created,
cashless, digital,
it could feel very different.
Okay, on that somber note, Ben, thank you very much.
Robotics, working from home and all that.
Well, a new strain of coronavirus has been found, which is growing faster in some parts of England.
Oh, bang on key with the injections.
Have been identified in the UK. They're predominantly in the south of England. Although cases have
as predicted months and months ago, did say it's mutated, but they're not using the word mutated this time, they're using strain. And that's likely because they know that we've mentioned the word mutated.
Joining me now is Dr. Mohammed Munir.
In many videos people have mentioned, they'll say it's mutated.
Good morning to you, Dr. Munir. How worried should we be about this new mutation of the virus?
Oh, she just said it.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. So since government has announced that there is a new variant circulating in...
She's just said it, mutated.
We in the
I'll tell you something.
Looking into the data sets,
the shocking predictions.
Anybody can access that.
The shocking predictions.
Sequences are available, and out of those, when we look into, there is one mutation in the spike protein at 5.
Thank you, Diana Lenska.
And that mutation is not really
and many others.
Binding site, the way virus
you were spot on, love.
So this means it could probably
months ago.
To the transmission of the virus.
The video that got deleted.
The vaccine efficacy itself, because when we talk about the vaccine effectiveness, we talk about the vaccine response against multiple sites within the spike protein, and even if one mutation occurs, it's not going to
mutation.
Impact the effectiveness.
Oh, they are on about it.
So that's really interesting. So you are suggesting that it means that the infection can spread faster, but that the vaccine should go on.
I find this very strange. This.
Yes, absolutely.
People have just got injected with a new so-called life-saving vaccine.
Most of the European countries and in America, there are hundreds of.
And now we've got a mutation strain.
Mutation have literally no or very little impact, except one mutation that was at the G614D mutation. That means that in the spike protein at 604.
This happened years ago, many years ago.
And that spelling mistake could lead to increased transmission.
Exactly the same thing that happened when everybody got injected.
Is certainly concerning because spike protein.
I'll leave that with your thoughts, folks.
Entry of the virus into our body, but also very critical for the vaccine responses. So as it stands, it's not really a major concern. However, there are something that we have to really focus on is that any mutation come in the spike protein needs
you just said it again, mutation.
Experimental setting to make sure that this is not affecting the transmission of the vaccine efficacy.
And this is not the first mutation that we've seen, is it?
And again, mutation.
Absolutely. This is one of the hundreds of mutations that we have.
Oh, they're loving this word now. I didn't think they were going to use it.
There are only 100
but they are.
Mutations that are recurring, that are coming on a frequent basis, and that is not very common. That is very common in.
Tell you something, people are very, very clever.
Is no exception. That as the virus
they demonise everybody conspiracy theories, don't they? Hey?
The mutation and become very prominent and predominant.
They're spot on.
For example,
I am shockingly surprised.
Now in the world, there are 2 or 3 strains, those become reference.
And they said, bang on cue.
So similarly, it could happen that some of the viruses,
when people get vaccinated, they'll say it's mutated.
Predominant and would become
what are they saying?
In the UK, but those
mutated
might not have any impact onto the vaccine efficacy.
I wanted to put the views of a fellow expert to you, Professor Hugh Pennington, a distinguished expert, who's writing one of the papers today, suggesting that the government and the health secretary specifically, by talking about this new variant of the virus and by linking
new variant, man,
restrictions, the entry of more places into
God, doesn't it make you sick?
He's launching a new project.
I should give up on all this, honestly.
To justify the further
it's a laughing stock.
I mean, do you think that finding this new variant of the vaccine does justify further tightening?
Well, if there are strong evidences that this particular strain is more successful in replication, it's successful in causing more severity of the disease, or it is spreading more, or would have a fear onto the vaccine efficacy, then certainly we need to do something and we need to act very decisively. But if I would have the
destroy everybody's Christmas once and for all.
An immature statement from the government to say at this stage when there is not much information available. Most of the information that we in the scientific community have acquired through the genetic analysis of the information since the announcement. So I think it is really important to make sure that this specific mutation that occurred in the spike protein has some relevance.
Am I going to swallow all this?
Efficacy
no.
Those are made publicly, announced. And if there was really a certainly concern, then of course, without announcing any new mutations, the restriction has to.
He doesn't just switch on like turning the tap on like that. No way on this earth.
To predominantly circulating to the population, that would jeopardize our vaccine campaign.
And we'd go in a full lockdown immediately. You wouldn't set a date for it.
Much more profoundly than what we are seeing now.
Well, you're all right today.
Thank you so much.
Hurry up and get your shopping done and all the rest of it. It's tomorrow when you've got fear the mutation.
Thanks for having me.
It starts tomorrow. After midnight, 1 minute past 12, then start panicking. Start worrying about the mutation after 12 o'clock tonight.
Cinemas and museums will close, while cafes and restaurants will be restricted.
What a joke.
To service. Protesters gathered outside the Prime Minister's office as he made the announcement on national television.